How I overcame my entitled family's drama and found happiness. My entitled family tried to ruin me, but I won in the end. Growing up as the black sheep in a household overflowing with privilege and entitlement shaped my perception of love, relationships, and self-worth. It took years of heartache, drama, and ultimately empowerment to disentangle myself from their suffocating grasp. In this article, I will share my journey through the roller coaster of family drama, how I navigated my wedding while they attempted to sabotage it, the chaos surrounding my brother's infidelity and my father's affair, and how I ultimately emerged victorious, finding happiness in my own life. Grew up as the black sheep in my entitled family. Being the black sheep in an entitled family is like living in a constant state of dissonance. While the rest of my family floated through life on a cloud of privilege, I often felt like a stranger in my own home. This disparity created a rift that would only deepen over time, especially when it came to major life events such as my wedding. The pressure to conform. Growing up, I was always aware of the expectations placed upon me by my family. They were accustomed to a certain lifestyle, one characterized by extravagant parties, lavish vacations, and connections that could open any door. In contrast, I was more interested in authenticity and genuine connections rather than materialistic displays of success. As the black sheep, my choices often met resistance. Whether it was my career path or my decision to marry someone who didn't fit their mold, each choice I made was scrutinized. This pressure to conform weighed heavily on me, leading to feelings of inadequacy and isolation. During my formative years, I grappled with the idea that love was conditional, dependent on my ability to meet their standards. Navigating the chaos of wedding planning. When it came time to plan my wedding, I braced myself for the inevitable clash of values. I envisioned a simple yet beautiful ceremony filled with love and laughter, but my family had other plans. They consistently pushed for extravagance, throwing around suggestions that made me uneasy. Every meeting felt like a tug-of-war between my vision and their desire for a show-stopping event. My mother's insistence on inviting her high society friends added another layer of complexity. She wanted to turn my special day into a status symbol. I remember feeling like a puppet, a mere accessory in a grand performance they hoped to orchestrate. Despite the chaos, I managed to stand my ground. With each confrontation, I learned the importance of asserting my voice. I began to understand that I could take charge of my own life, starting with the most significant day I had planned. This realization provided me with the courage to fight back against their entitled attitudes, firmly believing that my happiness mattered more than their opinions. The reality of entitlement is a powerful force. It breeds resentment and erodes familial bonds. As I navigated the waters of wedding planning, I witnessed firsthand how my family's entitlement manifested in harmful ways. They felt entitled to dictate not just my wedding but also my life choices, believing that their wealth granted them a say in everything I did. This culture of entitlement made it challenging to maintain healthy relationships. I frequently found myself questioning whether my family truly cared about my happiness or if they were simply preoccupied with preserving their image. I realized that their need for control stemmed from deep-seated insecurities, and I no longer wished to be trapped in that cycle. Through these challenges, I grew stronger and more resilient. Understanding the dynamics of entitlement allowed me to cultivate my independence and develop a deeper understanding of my values. It became clear that my happiness depended not on external validation, but on staying true to myself and surrounding myself with those who genuinely supported me. They tried to ruin my wedding. The weeks leading up to my wedding were fraught with tension, further exacerbated by their attempts at sabotage. Little did they know that their efforts to control the situation would ultimately backfire. Intrusive behaviors and unwelcome advice. As the date approached, my family's behavior became increasingly intrusive. My mother would call daily, offering unsolicited advice and demanding changes to the guest list. Their sense of entitlement led them to believe they had the right to dictate every detail, disregarding my wishes in the process. One particularly tense evening, my mother insisted on changing the venue to a more upscale location, claiming that it would impress her friends. I recall feeling a surge of anger mixed with frustration. I wanted nothing more than to have a stress-free celebration with those I loved. Their inability to respect my wishes felt like an invasion of my autonomy. In moments of doubt, I almost succumbed to their demands. However, I reminded myself that choosing to marry was supposed to be a joyous occasion, not a display meant to satisfy my family's social standing. With a newfound determination, I firmly told my mother that the wedding would proceed as planned, regardless of her objections. The fallout as expected, my stance didn't sit well with my family. There were heated exchanges and passive-aggressive comments about my lack of appreciation for their support. They framed my refusal to bend to their will as a betrayal, which fueled an already tense atmosphere. It became evident that their entitlement masked deeper emotional issues, and they struggled to accept that I wouldn't play along with their narrative. The days leading up to the wedding saw little resolution. While I was excited for the big day, I couldn't shake the lingering anxiety brought on by their blame-shifting tactics. It hurt to witness my family unraveling over something that should have been a source of joy. Nonetheless, I held my head high, knowing that I was doing what was best for me. A wedding to remember on the day of the wedding, despite the chaos surrounding the planning, I found solace in my commitment to my partner. Surrounded by loving friends and family members who supported my vision, I felt liberated. The ceremony was everything I had dreamed it would be, filled with laughter, love, and authenticity. While my immediate family remained distant, I focused on the joyous energy radiating from those who celebrated alongside us. I realized that my happiness didn't hinge on their approval. It stemmed from my choices and the love I shared with my partner. That day marked a pivotal point in my life, a moment when I recognized the power of standing firm in the face of adversity. Later, my brother's infidelity and my father's affair blew up their lives after the dust settled from my wedding. I believed that perhaps my family would begin to reflect on their actions and attitudes. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Instead, a series of personal dramas unfolded within my family, resulting in chaos that left them grappling with the consequences of their entitlement. My brother's infidelity not long after my wedding, news broke out that my brother had been unfaithful to his wife. His betrayal sent shockwaves throughout the family, shaking the very foundation of our relationship. Ironically, this was the same brother who had once aligned himself with our parents' entitled mindset, frequently belittling others to elevate his own status. His infidelity exposed the cracks in our family dynamic. I watched as my family, who had previously exerted so much energy controlling my life, turned inward, blaming each other for his actions. They sought to assign guilt, refusing to acknowledge their role in fostering an environment where superficiality reigned supreme. While they spiraled into chaos, I took a step back and reflected on how entitlement had poisoned our relationships. My brother's infidelity served as a poignant reminder that unchecked entitlement can lead to devastating consequences. Rather than jumping into the fray and taking sides, I chose to remain neutral, recognizing that their dysfunction was not mine to bear. My father's affair, as if my brother's situation wasn't enough, things took a disastrous turn when my father's affair came to light. He had engaged in a secret relationship that shattered the facade of our family. The shock reverberated through our extended family, provoking outrage and disbelief. Yet again, I found myself observing the fallout from a distance. The parallels between my father's actions and the entitlement that permeated our family became painfully clear. My father's affair was not solely an act of betrayal. It represented the culmination of a lifetime spent prioritizing image and reputation over authentic human connection. Watching my father grapple with the consequences of his decisions forced me to confront my own experiences within this entitled family. I realized that entitlement had created an illusion of superiority, blinding them to the needs of others. As they scrambled to salvage their reputation, I felt a growing sense of liberation. Their crises illustrated that my path, one rooted in authenticity, was far preferable to the tangled web they had woven for themselves. The return of the needy family with both my brother and father embroiled in scandals, a shift occurred within my family. They began to crawl back into my life, seeking help and support during their tumultuous time. Suddenly, the very people who had tried to ruin my wedding were looking to me as a voice of reason. I faced a difficult choice: Should I extend a helping hand and offer forgiveness, or protect my hard-earned peace? While part of me felt sympathy for their turmoil, I also recognized the patterns that had led us here. Their entitlement had wreaked havoc on our relationships, and I refused to enable that behavior any longer. Rather than rushing to their aid, I maintained my distance and focused on healing myself. This period of reflection solidified my resolve to prioritize my happiness above all else. Each interaction with my family reminded me of the importance of boundaries and self-care. The more I embraced my own growth, the less I felt compelled to fall victim to their drama. Conclusion: reflecting on my journey, I realized that overcoming my entitled family's drama has been both challenging and transformative. While they tried to ruin my wedding and later faced the fallout of their own choices, I emerged stronger and more empowered, ultimately finding happiness on my own terms. Learning to assert my voice and navigate the chaos cultivated resilience. My family's entitlement served as a mirror, reflecting the toxicity of trying to please others at the expense of my own happiness. By prioritizing authenticity and setting boundaries, I reclaimed my life and forged meaningful connections with those who uplifted me. Ultimately, the drama that engulfed my family reaffirmed my belief in the power of self-acceptance and inner peace. I'm grateful for the lessons learned along the way. They've sparked a profound transformation that continues to guide my choices today. I invite anyone facing similar struggles to embrace their journey towards self-discovery, pursue their passions, and prioritize their happiness. Remember, you possess the strength to rise above the chaos and create a fulfilling life, free from the confines of entitlement.